Hello, good morning. My name is Tahir Khan. I'm also known as Striker. Doing a live webinar here from Africa, and I'm not going to go in more details. Just start off with what I intend to do. So I'll start off with everybody's favorite euro, and I hope everybody is doing well. It's a beautiful day out here. Sun is shining nicely, and here the euro is. Basically, what I'm looking on the euro is that there's been series of tops coming in, consolidation move, and a small grind on the higher side. Going with the impact, I would assume we are somewhere close to our resistance. So 23, around 23, 40, 45, I would expect it to hold on for the day if it comes down here and probably go in shorting onto this pair. So got a sense of ascending wedge, which basically a pattern that points down to the fact that this could be. Let me use it's basically coming down in this fashion, uh, holding support. Probably gonna go and shoot, do another test here, and if it starts showing me a holding pattern here, I would look to go in for a sell. Probably that would be taken down as a minor new high. We had this high and then now exceeding, coming back here. So unless it goes and breaks and then takes off like this, if not, I would go and prompt down on the sell. At least look for move back towards here, or mainly look for on a shorter term. I look for this move out here. So unless it shows me promise that it can go and break, so basically I would expect a swing back here and then see if it wants to continue on the higher side or start dropping down. So if it drops down, I would have a tentative decent target probably around this zone right here. So this is an angle that interests me. So can look for the flows to, after a little bit of retrace back here, and then go in somewhere around 2260, 2250. And then the way the things are going right now, I'll be more willing to go and try back on the long side. So this is a small sketch on the euro dollar. And if I do not complicate too many things, then these are the angles that I'm basically looking into. That is a failure between 23, 40, and 50 starts showing me some holding patterns, and I'll be willing to go short. And my aim would be somewhere in this fashion. That is, if I get lucky and if I get the move going in, the momentum kicks in and the flow kicks in, then I would expect maybe by around Friday, maybe we can go and test around here. Alternatively, break on the higher side, or let's say above 2350, 2360. I would assume this thing can go up to 2410, 2420, even all the way towards 2500. And one of the reason is that I was sketching other views. This is an 8 hours that I was coming across, which is mainly indicating the same thing around 2340 zone. I mean, it comes on like this. Um, just to make my point more clear, make use of the image editor. That is, I'm looking in terms of, and let's use crayon. I'm looking here and I'm looking here on a broader aspect. So, which is mainly price been gravitating on the lower side, hold, retrace, and then break, retest, and follow up. So here, I think we have got to see, we got a potential, maybe a time. I wouldn't call it top, but I probably, if it starts holding and shows a promise on the drop, I would call it a temporary top. And this is what my intentions are. If it holds on here, uh, try short something in this fashion, come down hitting here, and then look for buys. So maybe we can do a rundown like this. Alternatively, if we do not hold on here, I would expect it to break and then hit here, and then maybe a quick retrace, and then probably back on the it starts falling back up on the higher side. And one of the reasons for that is that I've got a sketch on the I've got a sketch on the weekly, if I can find it. Yeah, I've got a sketch on the weekly, which was done. This was shared in, last time also, a couple of weeks back. That I'm looking at this angle, and if there's a break, which eventually came in after flirting down here, so we should go and hit the top of the zone, which is probably about 24, almost about, yeah, close to about 2500 level. So here, I'm looking at a broader aspect. I'm looking in this fashion, which is if I use, I'm looking here. So this is a much broader angle. So the same thing, had it broken the lower side, I would have been looking for this move. But dollar is like totally waiting it out, and we'll have a look at the dollar also. But the euro can show still, based on technical view, it does show an impression that while it stays above, and I would assume this would be, let's say if it stays above 2100 handle, it carries potential to go and hit all the way close to 2500, and that's probably where the bigger shots are lined up. But as of right now for the day, I would assume I would go with this. I would go with this angle where we are probably where we're trading very close to the resistance. And if I get to see holding patterns out here again, I will take it down as a temporary top coming into play, and then try to go and prompt some shots for the value down. That is basically holds here. Look for this move, then maybe some retraces, and see if it can break, and then carry on here, hit down here, going for buys. So far, yeah, that's the mindset that I have got right now, and something that I'm looking into it. So that's what the euro is prompting at the present. Uh, I'm gonna go and quickly look at the dollar. Yeah, this is a sketch on the weekly I shared in earlier. I'm just looking support zone here, and this was the view that I originally have. That if the bounce is coming on the dollar, it has to be somewhere around this zone. So still it's coming down here. This is right now flirting with the trend line, though it's showing that it can, it's breaking down. But let's see where it finishes. If the weekends, by Friday we close underneath, then I would expect more follow down on the lower side. Otherwise, this still is the point where probably it can just groove back and try to close above. If it does that, then I would be prompt to go with the original view. That is, we could base out here, and then you know can start seeing this move. So basically, dollar has got a lot to move, a lot to lose, and quite frankly, I think it's at a point where it either gets to make it or break it. Even though it's flirting out here, still have to see, since this is a weekly candle, still have to see how it closes. So yeah, that's something that I'm looking into, and so far it's not looking very promising for the dollar, but as the saying goes, not till the fat lady sings. We cannot say anything, but at the present, this is not a good scenario for dollar, and that's one of the reasons where while we see majors trying to go and push back up again, but anyways, it's almost there. So yeah, these are the shorting zone right here. So see how it goes. Shows on holding, then there is a prominent short-term shots coming into the play. And with the dollar done, I was looking at the pound, and on the weekly is coming down at a very interesting point. I think this is the zone that completes the move on the pound. And again, using the editor, and editor that just allows to project the point more prominently. It becomes much more easier to go and illustrate the point. Basically, again, here, this is a zone that I'm looking into currently. Maybe you can do a little bit here, something in this fashion. So yeah, there is a wedge, a rising wedge pattern that does indicate that could fall into play in this motion. Hit down here, maybe retrace a little bit, and since it's a weekly and pound has been showing a lot of promises. But keep in mind, there's always a fear of Brexit, whether it's going to be an easy exit or it's going to be a hard exit, and how things will roll out. We still have to see on that. With all those implications, I'll still, my end, I'll still be very cautious, and I'll uh, see how the events unfold. But so I'll be careful on that. And what I see is that currently we are right at the top of the resistance, so it's kind of scenario where dollar can break it. Sorry, pound can break it, and if it does it, then the next prominent level is quite steep. It's like probably about 148, 149. So that's a that for that to kick in, literally the dollar needs to literally get his get the wind taken out of his chest. So else, even if you get a little bit pierced on this trend line, as long as it gets to close under, I would assume we can looking for some shorts. So basically, an area where probably a temporary top can come in on the pound. So I'm still looking at it, and that's the that's this is something else on the dollar. This was done maybe 8 9 months back probably, and I was looking at this channel, the one between the black here and the black here, and that was pointing down as a bear flag still, since we're still riding in from the lower side. The 3630 zone was marked in, came in, held back here, and then median came into play, and then break, and then it's been comfortable. So while it's been comfortable on the top side, it is showing promise to go and carry on the surge in this fashion. That is that is it held there. It held there, prompted a move. Then again, lower base held in, prompted a move. Median came into play, pull back again, a little bit pull back, and here's a breakout, and then here's another breakout. Some retests were done, and this is trying to go on the higher side. So daily motion does implicate that uh, like this, that it should carry on at least towards 142, 143. So yeah, I mean, I've got an open mind into it. I'm a bit on the neutral side on the pound. Daily breakout is more evident here, but I cannot ignore the fact that we're hitting down some good resistance on the weekly, so still have to see. And I think in about an hour time or so, we got a data coming in from the pound. I think, hold on, that is uh, yeah, the GDP quarterly. So that's still coming in. So have to look into it, how it goes. And anyways, for us at the time being, we can consider that, quite around where we are at the resistance point. So I'll still be looking down to the factor that, there's a holding pattern that kicks in, and this is the 4 hours that I was looking at. One break, second break, and then there's a third break here in in this fashion. There's a third break here in this fashion. So if we get to see a holding move, let's say between here and here, right? Our first idle target will become somewhere around 39.60, and then if it starts cracking under, that's mean we pretty much breaking breaking under here like this. Then I would assume a better correction that goes all the way down to 37.50. So yeah, this is a huge potential move because eventually, if you see a temporary top, I would assume a full move all the way here. Of course, not going to be a straight line, but considering it goes in accordingly, then this is something that I would be looking into it. Uh, Again, not to make things messy, then we'll just do it this way, that we hold on to where we are, maybe another 10 pips, 15 pips on the top side. If we see a top, then that should be a comfortable retrace all the way down here, and most likely it's going to groove. And then if it breaks in, then some meat can be seen on the move. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye on that. So that's a move that I still have to wait for the data to come in and shows what it does. And with that, I want to move on to Australian dollar. And I was looking at it, and basically, this zone out here really interests me. And it's a daily candle, and there's a steeper inclining trend line, and there's a previous breakout trend line here, so which came into play, hit down here. I was hoping, I had a commence that if it drops under 79.25, which was basically this zone, then that's the time to go and short. Otherwise, stay with the current trend. And though it's been a consolidating move, not doing much. So, anyways, we got another strike here, almost a strike, and most likely another strike coming down here. So, by the end of today, I think most likely either we should be seeing this. If not, then I'll again start looking to sell into Aussie and look for at least 79, 20, 25 zone. That still is a prominent number out here between here and almost towards 7,900. If it starts breaking under, then I would assume this fashion could come in probably about to 7,700 or a little bit sub 7,700. So yeah, but then again, all eyes on the dollar, how dollar performs. Uh, any given, you know, any normal circumstances, these always become, point of interest for me, where I'll go and I'll make my move. I'll be taking position, and I'm a different kind of trader where I'm very versatile. I go with a lot of diversification. I go a lot of short terms, depending how the flows are kicking in, how the volume is going around, and I'll be more. I wouldn't be hesitant in going and bid on the bigger view picture, add on to the position, hold on for positions. But since I trade a lot of different pairs at the same time, I'm always looking for something which is more in terms of being easy. One of the reasons is that I can do it because I've been doing it for a very long time. Not recommended for those who are new to the game or not very well versed. It's not. It's definitely not easy to go and handle multiple pair at the same time. But for those of you who can do it, who are more seasonal traders, they probably would understand what I'm trying to talk about here. You go and you lay out a sketch on 5, 6, 7 different prominent pairs for the day. Use 4 or 5 of them for some quick money in and out scenarios, and probably take 1 or 2 pairs where you're looking in more broader picture and try to go and make most out of it. So it's my way of doing risk aversion, where you know keep on ringing the cash register at the same time go and sit on some trades where you're going for the bigger meat. So the idea is that in case the trades that you're going in and trying to get some bigger meat, what if they flip flop and then keep on coming back to the position where you have enter into the market? So a quick cash scenario here is always registering in and putting in some kitty out there, so putting in some money out there in your kitty, so you're more confined, you're more comfortable because you the way I put it is that for the amount of hours I'm putting into the market is, I want it to be worth it. So one way to make sure of that is keep on ringing the cash register. But again, that's me. That's I would strongly suggest not for at least not for those people who are new to the trading. So they're probably much better off taking one or two pairs and seeing how this pair behaves, how much it moves, and so on and so on. So yeah, I mean, this is what Australian dollar looks like to me. It's still I would say around up to about 80.50 is a prominent resistance. So unless it holds on to here, this wedge scenario should kick in again. All eyes on the dollar, how the dollar will perform. It does looks weak, and that's another reason why these pairs are coming back again, testing their prominent zones of resistance again and again. So yeah, this is why today could be one of those days where wait and see scenario could actually come in handy. So yeah, but enough said. Australian dollar does look like around prominent resistance zone. So depending on how dollar moves, there could be shorting opportunities coming into the play because I'm still looking at the wedge proportion, and for the pair to gain some kind of momentum, it still needs to drop down towards 7900, 7920. So maybe it might correct from there and hit back on 8060, 8070. So that's an open view. So that's the idea that I have got on at the present. I'm looking at NZD and pairs in a lovely fashion trap between here and here. It broke and then just carried on, carried on, carried on. So I think I did a dollar view, I mean, daily view on the pair already. So I see a little bit more influx where NZD can probably carry on a little bit further. Somewhere around 74.40 you can still do. So I'll wait while Aussie probably almost towards this temporary top. I think that there's still some room left on the NZD, so it can follow up a little bit more on the higher side. So 70 74 35 74 40ish is the number that I'll be looking for. That probably can come down as a par where it can go and probably start forming temporary top for some retrace on the lower side. So yeah, that's a number that I'm looking into it. I don't have any interest on the pair right now apart from trading probably in pound NZD, and we'll come to it. And how it looks on the 2 hour. Yeah, 2 hours still small fashion. I think it's got small viewing like the one that we have on the dollar. That's probably here. It's a slow moving pair, so it requires a little bit of patience. But it shows angles where it can just top off here. But this pair, basically, what I'm trying to say is that this pair, though initial resistance is really close by, it's probably I would say about 73.80ish. But this pair can just go and pretty much do nothing at all, which is hit down here, then hit back here, then hit down here, then hit back here. It just gravitated a little bit here and there, just the way it's been doing out here, though this band is shrinking. So unless it breaks under what I'm looking at as again a prominent wedge, then probably I'll just go in. But even if I go in short, I'm not gonna go in short for excuse me, for a longer hold. It'll be just to make some quick money. But then uh, this hitting down shots from this zone, maybe about 30, 73, 75, 73, 80, would be, I would say, an aggression mode. It would be much easier if I see it closing here and then a retest, and then I'm more reluctant to, more open to go short and see if we can probably come down all the way down here in this zone, somewhere around 72.25, 72.30. So yeah, that's a short-term view that I can have going into it. Maybe from here it will correct back for 74.30, 74.40. So yeah, that's another pair that I'm looking at it, but not too much of an interest from the current levels. So, but keeping an eye on that. Gold, gold. It's just looking at this angle, had a shorting opportunity here, gravitated, and it's probably breaking on the higher side. So I'm not gonna do much on the gold right now, but I'll see how the bigger picture is probably looking at. Yeah, this is one of the views that I had start setting up from here between 1290-ish and then all the way down to 1240 buyback, and 1320 was the target for me. It's gone beyond that, came down, hitting, finding support, and then carrying on the higher side. But I think still it's got a good resistance lying up. Yeah, this is the weekly that interests me, and that is basically we gotta we have got the gold trapped into a tight territory, and anything slightly above 1360, I still would consider as a shorting opportunity. So, uh, yeah, the gold shows promise that it can go and try down here, but this is where the test begins. Either break and then carry forward. Maybe we haven't seen 1400 since last probably year and a half, 2 years. So it can go and do a lot of catching up. Otherwise, otherwise, I think it needs to come back towards 1300. So yeah, as of right now, 1360ish, anything 1360ish, willing to go short, try out for something close to 1300. And if I see bounces, then that's another cue to go long, and probably then we can probably break up and go on the higher side. On the higher side, I have a move that can go all the way, extends all the way to 1500 zone. But when was the last time we were trading above 1400? Here, 1371, 1388, 1433, 1416. So basically, the two time we were above that, that was only in shape of spikes. Otherwise, the last time we were at 1400 was back in April 2013. So that's roughly about almost almost 5 years. Sorry, August, almost 4.5 years. So that that shows a prominent that in case if it breaks in, how it's going to go and treat. Probably is going to be really thirsty, and it does want to go and hit down 1500. And I probably would assume it'll do it relatively fast. Just going to excuse myself for 1 minute. I'll be quickly back. I need a glass of water. Be patient with me. Yeah, hi, hello. Sorry about that. So yeah, that's what goal is. As of right now, I think uh, for those who are long, they should stay long because I think we have a break. Those who are looking to get into a position, uh, well, I think, hold on, I think that would break here had it come, or maybe in the US session, if it come back towards close to 42, even down to 38, sorry, even down to around 40, that would be, as of right now, I will be, hit down here, start showing that it wants to hold, then I think there's a buy clause. We should go and hit at least 1360, between 1360 and 1363. That's where the big week comes in, and then try back here. So yeah, goal likely on the higher side. So again, that's a testimony that dollar at the present is not doing well. But then those who are aggressive can probably even look for a little bit more on the retreat side to get back in. But apparently, I would prefer, because what happened is that not till the volume indicates later on, especially in the US session, if we are close to here, and in case if it starts closing under, then I can probably, I would be willing to take down this price action as a fake move that was just a break but did not follow through. So that's what I mean by if it comes down here, starts showing me a holding pattern, then I have no issues building in longs and then trying to go and hit down 1360, 1363. So basically anything between 1358 and 1363, I can look to profit 60, between 60 and 63, look for holding patterns and then try to go short, and that would be back to the weekly, so probably about all the way 1300 zone. Since this is a 2 hours, doesn't show too many candles in space, but then that's how the weekly is pointing in. So regardless of how we go and carry on this pair, whether you want to buy now or you want to go and sell later on, there are some decent move that is been getting projected. uh, Best buy so far had been those 8 hours break and retest. That was right around here. So which I mean is that right here, and this has been what do you call that? This has been I shared this chart like maybe 4 or 5 times in last maybe 3 4 months. So yeah, I mean this was a prominent point. Uh, Build down longs here, hit back, new longs. So currently we might even have a little bit of resistance here, I would assume. Yeah, we do have a little bit of resistance coming here, so we might get a retrace back to 40, 42, and then see how it goes. If it shows a holding pattern, then I we need to see another break on the higher side and hit down at least till 60, 62. Of course, a different scenario how it goes and acts upon when we come down there, because that's and I'll later on I'll or by next week I'll have a better sketch. But back of my mind, if it breaks in, quick target probably would be quick target would be yeah, I'll go with this, a quick target. Quick target. Quick target would be around 1390, close to 1400, still not 1400. But yeah, that's still, for where we are right now, that's still potentially big plays. And since people who are trading gold for the last at least 3 4 years, apart from these few moves here, the gold has been heavily consolidating. So while the bigger picture remains somewhere around 1500, maybe slightly above 1500 by the time we, if considering we got the break and we start moving. So I still do not consider it to be a straight line, but rather a faster move above here. But so 1500, 1520, that would be the ideal zone, that it should go and hit. So yeah, there's some promising view on the goal. Again, a little bit discretion advised because still have to go and see how it does on the dollar. Yeah, pound and ZD, I was looking at it and I was getting interested yesterday. Some fruitful moves were there. These are just the temporary buys that were conducting down yesterday, close to 90.10. That was the support. Anyways, this was the main idea, and I was looking at a pattern. Basically, I've been tracking this pair. I trade this pair quite a lot. I had some prominent big buys that I missed it, so I did not went chasing it. I came around, did few short-term views, and then till what I'm looking at right now is basically these angles here. I did share this view out yesterday, and that is I'm looking, this has a breakout zone. Basically, it broke out, came down, and now it's looking to go and hit back here again, which it did here, almost here, and then this could be a third attempt coming into play. And is what makes it more interesting is, hold on, what makes it more interesting is that uh, though this is one resistance, which was, I don't want to use this. This was one break point here. So basically, what it did was based here, moved back here, broke here, retest here, failed, and carried all the way back, but did not go all the way where I was expecting. So I missed out on this trade, and now it's coming back and flirting with the same thing. So while this is an extending, I mean, extending means in terms of this is inclining resistance because now we are coming from the lower side to the upside. But apparently, I've got another trend line that points to putting these down at the top, right? And every time, basically, let me just do it this way, much more easier. I was looking at one, two connections. So here is the break, first retest, 3-time retest on an 8 hour. So that's prominent. Sell, it goes and carries lower than this mark, low here, then swing back and hit back and then falters. So it has been a lower, it's been a lower high, and then it goes and drops in and like it goes and drops in like this, which is again putting in a, this is one low, this is lower low, and this again a lower low, and then here it's coming back. So basically, if the history is repeating itself, it's just that this is a better retrace that it's gotten into. So if it comes back here, one scenario, two scenario, are we looking at a third one here? So, and again, if the history is repeating itself, it should go and hit bound near low. But I'm like actually not looking in terms of near low because now I'm looking at projection, which is basically probably a left shoulder, uh, neckline, probably a break point. So there could be a right shoulder that can come all the way down here. So, and then another one and probably break and carry on the higher side. So highly, how do I put it? A pair which can do a lot of rundown if the scenario kicks in. So I'm open to this view. As of right now, the short term would be to use these angles around 91.35, 90 up to maybe 91.50. If the price comes down, because we got a news coming in shortly. So who knows? Probably we can go and get a spike all the way down here. Holds it. I think there's a prominent shot coming in here. At least maintain it for maybe at least 89, 20, 89, 30, and then probably maybe up till here. So basically, what I'm looking at somewhere in this fashion. This is just a rough sketch, but I'm looking at this in this fashion. So from here or maybe even till here, if I see a pullback coming in, I'll be very happy to go long again. But my this long would be to go and see if we can actually break on the higher side. So then there's a well, I think there's a lot of meat coming into play. And another reason why I got interested in this pair was looking on the monthly. Looks like here the actual view is this. That actually shows all the way. It shows a gigantic move. I mean, since this is our monthly candles, so do and our side the and is monthly shows huge promise, but of course I don't go in blindly. There's another scenario if it drops in, then we can go and hit new low also. So with the Brexit, prominent point has in a little bit sky that is should be having an inverse head and shoulder. So yeah, I'm open to some patterns, and at the same time I can use the risk buying orders around. So yeah, with the news on pound, things can get crazy. One way to put it is that on the news, probably against 19, we can go and get a huge spike and then probably lift all the way back up like this. Recommending the news comes in, we can just go and strike here, or maybe right. But here, if it just seem like hitting a brick wall, then I would expect a follow through, and I would actually expect a new high. So maybe 91.40 up to 91.40, 45, 91.50. That would be a region that I would be looking into. Similarly, if the news comes in and it just goes and hit on the higher mark, I'll probably most likely will have my sell orders waiting out there. So that's one of the thing I've already factored in few trade idea even on the high impact news, and that's just the way I function. Whether I'm correct or I'll pay for it. But one thing is that before I enter, the same thing goes for everybody. That every time you go and try to enter into the market and start seeing what you can do and how much you can make, start also factoring how much you can lose. So the losses should be acceptable. So basically, if you're going on a high impact news zone or those pairs, best way to do is that reduce your lot size. So basically you're reducing your risk exposure. But again, on these modes, when you go and hit it and you're making it, then the next moves are also faster. So you eventually it just pays out, but uh, it rather pays you off while you keeping your risk to the minimum than just going in blindly. So yeah, these are just the angles that I'm looking at, and probably the only thing that's I have to watch out for is the news, because the pound and its crosses on the news can literally move a lot. So keep an open eye onto that. So that's the pound NZ that I was looking into. Uh, I was looking at pound yen. All right, this is already a play that was done out, so I'm not going to go and repeat on that. But one of my last webinar that I did, I pointed out 155 and a change. Basically, this region has a possible top out zone where we can probably see a temporary top on the pound yen. And this is what interests me. Pound NZD uh, prominently on some top resistance, pound yen on some top resistance. So that's another reason why I have to see how pound dollar does it, because if all its crosses are willing to go and retrace a little bit, it should weigh up on the pound, so pound can retrace a lot. But that does not mean that I'm looking totally downside on the pound. Pound and its crosses eventually are showing a higher move, so I'm basically going in with an open mind. But what I'm doing right now is using some cheeky points, some high prominent zone right now that's coming into play, suggesting that we can have some kind of a retracement. So I'm basically only looking in terms of retracement. Eventually, later on, I'm willing to flip and see how it goes. So, but again, I keep a view about Brexit and the impact news. I mean, the news that impact I can carry on any sort of news that might be coming out. Smoother exit, of course, that would be good for the pound. It should rally, and that's where May and her cabinet members are looking into. That get down somewhere in terms of a Norway style of Brexit exit, and well, smoother the smoother it gets, the better it gets for the pound, and it's been showing on the pair lately. So I'm not here suggesting that I'm going to go and fight a trend move. I'm just saying that the pairs are lined up in such a zones where some short-term moves can be made useful if done correctly. I mean, these are point that's been already illustrated and they're just coming into place. So these were the shots. Those were available, dropped in almost like 100 plus pip, and there seems like this. Depending on how the news goes in, we'll see if we can retrace back and get back to the same point, see it holding, and then go back again short, or whether they're just ready to go and fall over. So yeah, an open mind onto it, and this was a 30 minutes layout that I had it on, so that was perfect on the downside retrace. And then again, if it breaks under 154.40 and takes out this low, then I would assume we heading down towards 153 handle. I'm not going to make things very complicated out here, but just keep it on a single sketch. I'm just want to show more or highlight more onto the main points than itty bitty things, and how small structural moves comes in and goes around. This is a 30 minutes uh, chart, and if you look at the pound Canadian, and the reason I'm looking at more into pound and its crosses is because the way the pound has structured itself in. This is a 8 hours. Now this pound Canadian has got different views on different charting time frame, but yeah, this one interests me because I was looking at breakpoint retest failure, and now the price coming testing it. Of course, this was a move with the Bank of Canada coming in, getting this accelerated move out here. So founding resistance, basically from here, finding resistance, dropping down, hitting and piercing a little bit, and then again. So with that in mind, as long as this line comes into play again, that is on the pound news, it hits somewhere around 74, 50, 55, 60. As long as holds down under this low, and then goes for a halt, I think I'll be more than willing to go and try shots and try it down for 73.30, 73.40. So that's a move that I'm looking into it. But again, I'm looking into a lot of other pairs into the pound. I'm not advising anybody, but this is something that probably more useful if you just look into it and see how things goes about. The daily on the same pair, again, suggesting a little bit more on the higher side. So basically, I'm again, see, you can see how I'm doing it, but you do not know how I do, or how I conduct my money management, or how I go and conduct my risk, or how do I lay down. I mean, uh, there's a whole different aspect to it, because I understand how these pairs move. I trade them vigorously, almost, if not every day, then every second day I've got one of the positions coming into these pairs. So yeah, I'm looking at seriously at, there's a different way of looking at it. And I'm open to this view also, which is basically we can have a moment of a temporary top. That's mean hit down here, flirt it, and then pushing all the way back. So with this view, I'm even open all the move all the way back to 7,500, and that would be actually a better move. You know, if I have to go and lay down the order for this pair, it would be in order to go and sell somewhere around close to 7,500. So I can place that. That would be more. Uh, that would be a better option of going and hitting into this pair. But keep in mind the news is coming in on the pound and can do some crazy things. So in case if you start breaking on the higher side, then there's a huge move that's coming on the on here. But as of right now, I'm open something anything close to 7,500. I'm actually willing to go and try on some shots. Of course, my loss size will be reduced because I'll be acting up on a I'll be acting up on a news, and at the same time, what I'm trying to say is that what interests me is a possibility of double tops, with the new top being slightly higher than the last one, which is always a good thing. And then see if we can come down, run down like this, and probably all the way down here. So that would be a prominent point to go and look for if it happens. So alternatively, this is another move. So yeah, I mean, this is more in terms of keeping your options alive and how you want to go. I think there's some heavy news coming in from the Canada also. Let me quickly go and look into it. Okay, so Bank of Canada will be here later on too in about 5 6 hours. So yeah, pound can get really cocky. I would strongly suggest a lot of discretion and a lot of caution advice. And Canadian is having a CPI, so maybe it's better. Maybe it's better if you just go and look into this pair and not do anything because uh, with the pound news and Canadian news and the Carney coming in later on, maybe pound is probably off limits for most of you people, but it won't hurt you to go and see a glimpse of how it moves. So still, my point of view, anything on the top side, I'll just take it as a better opportunity to go and sell into it because these are just a few prominent things, pattern wise, structure wise, that I look into the market that I like to take advantage of. Uh, Too bad we got a heavy news impact, so even I need to take some extra cautious out there. But otherwise, these are some of those patterns that I drool for, views that I drool for, and I actually try to go and I wouldn't hesitate in going multi pairs and pound doing it. But with the Carney coming in, with the Canadian coming in later on, and with the pound news probably about the next half an hour, yeah, it's one of those times where I need to take cautious. I wasn't expecting Carney to be in. I would just want to go and check it again if it's truly Carney coming in today. Yeah, actually he is. He is, and that is in about 5 hours. So yeah, but still, this is the point that interests. I want to go and look into Euro Japanese. Yeah, I've been looking at this. This is a goofy looking chart, I would put it. Something that I normally don't do. So let me just take this out. It's of no use to me. What I've been looking into it is that building shots here, but this is literally playing with the emotion because there is no momentum. There is it's just too slow. But eventually, I think I did a layout earlier last week on the webinar also that I'm looking for decent move down here and look for buys back. So I still have the view intact. So any break on the lower side, unless if you're not already short, then any break on the lower side. mm, Sorry, any break on the lower side here. If it goes under, then any retest back here, 135.20 zone and a hold, that would be a good idea to go short. But here, I don't mind going long, and I probably would expect. As of right now, my views can change later on, but as of right now, I expect a move in this fashion. So yeah, I'm not gonna go and discuss about what I have on and what we already on, but yeah, this is all I can say is that this pair has been playing with our emotion. I wish this can pick some pace up, and Euro Japanese on a daily here has been showing that again the same support zone, but I'm looking for a bit more support on the lower side from where to build better longs and try to see it going on the higher side. But that's just me. This is another aspect of it. This is basically what prompted a shot here in profit zone here and see if it can go down lower and then carry on with the remaining shots towards 134.20 and then it's probably about here. As mean personally, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting this. I'm waiting for this move to come. So I need a break here. Alternatively, if it's not breaking on the lower side, then it can go and carry up on the higher side like that. So I'm open for a break under, but I will not, you know, it's not that I'm getting restless. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of impatient, but I'm not getting restless because we've taken down some meat on this pair. But I wish we would have been trading somewhere maybe, around 135 or sub 135. So can go in for this one. But apparently, mm, usually market do not go around working the way you want it to work. But still, it's not hurting, so it's still decent. And daily, if I sketch that out on the weekly, what we see, yeah, I don't need this right now. So yeah, this is a zone and this is the impact. So I still think that we can go and hit down 140. So as of right now, as of right now, so this is the breakpoint would be. So maybe from here, go and then carry on. So yeah, keeping an option on, but let's see how price falls in. This has been a slow pair. It has been moving quite slowly, but keeping an eye on. Quickly want to go and see how dollar yen is coming up. Yeah. So dollar yen has been on the break on the lower side. Finally, it does break it, but and that's good. I'm still looking at 109.20 has a prominent zone. Uh, I think that's where for the day we can see some buys kicking back in and I'm likely to go and try 110 back into play. So yeah, this is a view that I have it on, and I was telling I was basically wondering why it's taking such a long time to go break under because apparently the way it's been structured is that this has come in has a good support, but I think the market was heavily long on this pair, and that's one reason when most of the when mainly the markets are long, you can go and see a counter move coming in. So yeah, 109.20 most likely coming in for the day, 109.20ish. So and that's a zone that I will look to go and buy at least on an intraday basis. So yeah, that's a good thing, and I hope this move can show up on the Euro Japanese also. So at the same time, Canadian, I was looking for it to go and break under. So let's see how it is doing. Yeah, okay. It's come down here. I was actually looking at my 2 hours earlier, and yeah. So this is a break. This was a retest. So this was the sell zone. I should have covered this earlier. We would have got a you could have I could have shared in better views on that. Apparently, this what I'm trying to say is that this has been the base zone numerous attempts. This is the Bank of Canada, and we were live on the webinar. We I mean orchestrated the whole move, the way it folded. There's a recording on the 17th that can be picked up from the site that can you can probably go and view. More explicit views on the Canadian will be seen out there. Anyways, hold, finally break. So basically, this is where the break is. This is where the retest came in, and the second retest would have been a good option to go short. But this again, right now where we're hitting, this is this is a zone where I'll go caution. So this would have been my profit zone, and this is what it is right now. So unless we break further, I think we are at support. I think currently we are at support as the 8 hour suggests. But if we break under, then I don't see any problem it going down all the way towards 2300, almost, yeah, almost 2300 levels. So a further break here means another 70 odd points. So, but as of right now, this becomes a point where I would suggest the support is kicked in. So unless we do not break, we can see some move back at least towards another 35, 40 pips on the on the retrace. So yeah, we on support has of right now here. We do have the Canadian news coming in, so if the anticipation is on the good numbers, then it can probably break prior the news hitting the wire. And if it does, then 2300 zone becomes a prominent target on the run on the lower side. But as of right now, I've got no hesitation in saying that uh, this would have been a trading. This was a trading idea. Sell, retest of the break somewhere around 24.10, 24.12, and then basically an idea to go and grab yourself 40, 45 quick pips, which is probably done. So I think we should retrace right now. But with the news, Canadian can do sit around do nothing the whole day. But when it comes down to his zone and when it comes down to his news, it can do some crazy things. So with that in mind, any break on the lower side on the news or even prior to the news, I'll be willing to go and try and some build in some long stores 2300 zone or slightly lower, maybe 2290ish, 2300. So that's an open scenario for me on this pair. And I think I'll have a quick look on the dollar again. I think dollar must be hurting at the present. Yeah, but let's see if it gets to close. If it gets to close, if it gets to close, that's a U.S. dollar. Basically, this pair only represent dollar. Not this is not a dollar index, but dollar against the pin against all the currencies. And yeah, this shows a lot of weakness. It does show a lot of weakness. And Canadian done. Canadian done. See what we have on. Yeah. Okay, CHF is another pair that I was looking into, but more in terms of wait and see. And what I like to see on this pair is it's a dull pair, moves literally very slow, does not carry too much volume, does not move too much. But anything around 116 and a slight change in a hole, I don't mind going trying some shots. But overall, I think there's a break coming up, and we're probably going to go and hit 118. So that would be a longer view. That could be ideal. Would be hit down here, move down here, then swing back and basically carry on towards 118. So yeah, something that I'm looking in. But I think that was a dollar ZAR that I want to. Yeah, this interests me a lot. A high opportunity pair. I've been tracking it for a while. I've been actually tracking by the time we hit down here, and this has been in perfect harmony on the lower side. I mean, like it's taking some, literally taking out the wind of the dollar. But again, cautious. We probably are on the zone from where we can see counters building up. So yeah, among the exotic period, this could do some wonders. So we should be getting ready for this move, probably back here, and then this, then consolidate, and then see if it's coming down here or boom. But yeah, regardless, we are right around some important big support coming up on the dollars are. So yeah, this is what I want to share in, especially for those who are into a longer term trading mode. This probably can do a lot of wonders because if it holds, then I think uh, it's ready for some. Ready to make some noise in this fashion, at least. So keep an eye on this. Again, this one of those pairs not for everybody, but won't hurt you keeping an eye. And I think I had, yeah, also JPY is again the same similar fashion like the Swiss, and that is again, but it's pretty much the same view. It's been holding up, so I'm also expecting a break on the higher side on this pair. So let's see how it goes. And with that, I conclude the webinar for the day. Main theme today is the dollar and the majors. That mostly they look like majors are basically overall scenarios that they do look like they want to go and start breaking on the higher side. But I think a little bit cautious of that because we got 2 more days for the weekly to close over and see if something can happen during this time. So any flip flop that would be that would be winding down on the sells on the majors. That that probably would mean that bids kicking in into the dollar. But if the weekly close under, then there is no other option but to start seeing more decline on the dollar and a higher side on the majors. So interesting time and not so interesting time for those who are new into the business because uh, this could be some move that can just carry on and on and on. And if you're under the impression that you can take a position and the market might eventually come back, relieve you, we might be at we might be at a territory at a zone at a time where that might not happen for a longer time. So be careful. Again, once again, my disclaimer: I've just been sharing in my view, not suggesting trade ideas, but do it at your own discretion. And hope everybody makes money. With that, I sign off for the day and have a very good and prosperous remaining day for the and weeks to come. Thank you very much.